All right, now look, today I'm finna show y'all how I make my roasted tomato and red pepper soup. Now there's one key ingredient that I add to mine that's not so typical that makes mine kind of stand out just a little bit more. So just stick with me and come along for the ride, honey. This is what you're gonna need. The neutral oil that I'll be using is avocado oil. You're gonna need the chicken bouillon Nor powder, kosher salt, black peppercorn, crushed red pepper flakes, heavy whipping cream. To this 1 cup of water, I added in 1 teaspoon of the Better Than Bouillon seasoned vegetable base. You're going to need rosemary and thyme, a half of a large sweet onion. My secret key ingredient is a small knob of ginger. I'm telling you, something about the ginger paired with the roasted tomatoes and the pepper, it just does something to my soul. I have 6 large cloves of garlic, and then the blend of tomatoes I'm going to be using today are heirloom and plum. You see that? You see that? You see that? Don't ask me for the damn ingredient list. Come on, child. This is going to be a quick one. Okay, so making tomato soup is so extremely easy to make, and honestly, it's one of my favorites, I think, simply because of the fact of how easy it is. I literally just go in, remove the tops, and then I split them in half, and then I sit them to the side in the bowl so that I can toss them in some neutral oil, as well as the kosher salt the kosher salt and the black pepper. Now, as far as the blend of tomatoes, you guys can use whatever blend of tomatoes you want. Of course, making tomato soup when tomatoes are in season is going to be the best thing to do because, duh, that's when they're going to be the most sweet. The reason why I like to the reason why I like to roast my tomatoes is for that very reason. When you roast tomatoes, it brings out the natural sweetness in them, which is just absolutely divine. But if you want to skip this step, you absolutely can. Just know that you're going to lose a little bit of flavor along the way. I also like to add in the bell peppers because it just brings out more natural sweetness. Now, if you are someone that doesn't like bell peppers or are super, sensitive to spice, although these don't have any spice, then you can omit them. You can also play around and try out a bunch of different peppers. That's also totally fine. If you want to add in some jalapenos, it's soup, y'all. The good thing about soup is most of the time you really can't go wrong. It's really just about adding in whatever you want. So I've now also added in the onion to this bowl with all of my tomatoes and my pepper. And I'm going to go in with a little bit of oil. I'm also going to go in with a nice pinch of the coarse kosher salt. Do not use table salt, y'all. Use coarse kosher salt. This is also going to help remove out some of the moisture, but also bring out some of the natural sweetness. And then we're also going to go in with the crushed black pepper. I'm going to hold off on adding in the red pepper flakes until the end. But for right now, we can go in with the crushed black pepper. Boom, boom, pow. I'm also going to toss in my garlic because my garlic is also going to get roasted as well as the knob of ginger. And this is roughly about the size of ginger that I'm using. You don't want to use too much because a little bit does go a long way. Add that to the bowl and now toss all of these together to make sure that everything is coated in the oil, salt, and pepper. I have my oven preheated to 375, and I'm now going to transfer all of my tomatoes, my pepper, my onion, my garlic over to a baking dish. And I'm now going to place this in the middle rack and allow this to roast off for roughly about 30 to 40 minutes or until it's to my liking. I'll let you guys know exactly how long this process took. Alrighty, you guys, so these have been in here for about 40 minutes, and this is actually perfect. For me, it's not really a matter of them being super dark. It's about the fragrance. Once I can smell those beautiful tomatoes and the peppers really coming to life, that's when I know it's ready. I'm now going to transfer all of this into my blender so that I can emulsify everything down. And to help blend this, we're only going to add in a half a cup of the 1 cup of the stock. This is just enough so that it'll be able to blend down. We're going to add in the rest a little bit later on. So you can just add in about a half a cup. We're also going to add in our 1 teaspoon of the chicken bouillon powder. Place the top on, be very, very careful because it's extremely hot, and turn this bad boy on and let it go until it's nice and smooth. Alrighty, I've transferred it over to my Dutch oven, and let me just say something. Based off of just the color and the texture alone, this is exactly how I like mine. And speaking of texture, I do not run mine through a strainer because I like mine to have the texture from the addition of the skin. If you want your silky smooth, you can absolutely run it through a strainer. That's a matter of preference. Go on ahead and turn the heat on about a medium low, and then we can continue cooking from there. Going ahead and add in the remaining the vegetable broth. 1 teaspoon of sugar. I will also now be adding in the addition of the 1 teaspoon of the optional crushed red pepper flakes. And now is when you would go in and taste for the additional salt and pepper. I've added in my black pepper, 1 teaspoon of the crushed red pepper flakes. And for right now, I'm going to start off with 1 additional teaspoon of the coarse kosher salt. Give all of that a mix and give it a taste. Honey, it's just something about tomato soup. It just does it every time. Every time. Now that this is coming up to a very, very low simmer, we can go on ahead and give it a mix. And now we're going to go on ahead and add in our thyme and our rosemary. You can literally just lay that on top. Just slightly press it down. You don't have to mix it because you want to make it easy for you to fish it out. If you have one of those cheesecloth bags, you can put it in there so that it's easier, but ain't nobody got time for all that. Keep the heat on low. Place the top on this and let it go for about 15 minutes. Alright, you guys, it has been 15 minutes, so we can go on ahead now and remove the rosemary and the thyme. Just carefully go under, scrape it out just like so, and then that way you don't have to worry about that being in the final product. And then we can go on ahead and give it a good mix. I am now going to turn the heat off completely and add in a 1/2 cup of heavy whipping cream and give this a good mix. My God, I'm going to tell you something right now. This soup, tea, baby. The spice is exactly where I like it. It is perfectly spiced. Now, I'm going to tell you something right now. It is spicy, or at least, it has a good amount of spice to it. So if you're a person that doesn't really like spice, then I would highly advise you to reduce how much crushed red pepper flake you put in it. But for me, it is just the perfect balance. I'm going to place the lid back on this and let this sit for about 5 minutes, but turn the heat off. Then right before I serve it, I like to go right across the top with just a little bit of oil. Just like so. Place a little bit of rosemary right in the center. And then just a little bit of freshly grated Parmigiano Reggiano right across the top. And because I am who I am, I like the element of just the additional spice. And that there, my friends, is how I make my creamy roasted red pepper and tomato soup. Full of flavor, lots of spice, but just absolutely divine. I hope you guys tried this recipe, honey. Shall we go in for a taste test? Let's go in for a taste test, child. Here we go. Baby, that spice. Yep.